Hey there, bookworms and history buffs. Welcome to the Silent NewsRoom, where we uncover the stories history forgot. You know, the stuff they didn't put in textbooks, the events that time almost swallowed whole. Today we're diving into 5 fascinating historical events that you've probably never heard of. From centuries-long resistance to a sticky but deadly disaster, we're about to take a journey to the lesser-known corners of the past. Buckle up! Our first stop takes us to South America, where the Mapuche people waged a relentless fight against Spanish colonization for over 3 centuries. Imagine European powers, fresh from conquering empires, arriving in the 16th century, only to be met with fierce resistance from Mapuche warriors. These weren't just skirmishes, these were battles led by strategic masterminds like Lautaro and Pelantaro. Picture this, the year is 1598, the Battle of Curalaba. Pelantaro orchestrates a devastating ambush against the Spanish, halting their southern advance for centuries and cementing the Biobío River as a symbolic border. The Mapuche were masters of guerrilla warfare, using the terrain to their advantage, launching surprise attacks, and vanishing back into the rugged landscape. Spanish chronicles speak of 50,000 Mapuche warriors at the height of their power. These warriors, mounted on horseback, masters of the bola and lasso, became a symbol of defiance against an empire. By the late 19th century, the tides began to turn. Armed with modern weaponry, Chile and Argentina finally subdued the Mapuche in what became known as the occupation of Araucania. The Mapuche were forced onto reservations, their ancestral lands shrinking, but their spirit remained unbroken. Their struggle is a testament to the human spirit's ability to resist, to endure, and to remind us that history is written not just by the victors, but by those who fight for their freedom. Ready for a history lesson that sounds made up? Let's journey to America, where a border dispute between Ohio and the Michigan Territory almost sparked a war, all thanks to a surveyor's error. Back in 1787, the Northwest Ordinance was vague about the exact border between Ohio and Michigan. Fast forward to 1835, and that oversight explodes into a territorial tug-of-war over the Toledo Strip. The Toledo Strip, with its access to Lake Erie and valuable timber resources, was an economic goldmine. Ohio encouraged settlers to move into the disputed area. Michigan, under Governor Stevens T. Mason, wasn't about to back down. Mason rallied a militia of 1,000 strong to defend their claim. Ohio countered with 600 armed men. Instead of bloody battles, the war was fought with arrests, political maneuvering, and even a sheriff getting stabbed. Don't worry, he survived, but no shots were fired. Eventually, cooler heads prevailed. Congress stepped in, offering Michigan a deal: cede the Toledo Strip and receive the Upper Peninsula. Michigan, recognizing the Upper Peninsula's vast mineral wealth, accepted. The Toledo War ended not with a bang but with a handshake, a testament to the power of diplomacy, and maybe a little bit of compromise in the face of potential conflict. Fasten your seatbelts because we're about to dive into a historical theory so wild, it'll leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about time itself. In 1991, German historian Heribert Illig claimed that 297 years from 614 to 911 CE never actually happened. According to Illig, this period was a grand conspiracy orchestrated by Holy Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II. Illig pointed to inconsistencies in historical records, gaps in archaeological evidence, and the shift from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar as proof. He suggested that famous chronicles, like those describing Charlemagne's reign, were forged centuries later. His theory captured the imagination of many, sparking debates online and at dinner tables around the world. Could it be that our understanding of history was fundamentally flawed? Mainstream historians, however, met Illig's hypothesis with skepticism. They pointed to a wealth of archaeological findings that directly contradict Illig's claims. They argued that inconsistencies in historical records were to be expected given the passage of time. Despite the lack of academic support, the phantom time hypothesis continues to intrigue. It challenges us to question our assumptions and examine the evidence. It reminds us that the past, much like the present, is often open to interpretation. Our next stop takes us to Boston, 1919, where a sticky situation quickly turned deadly. Picture this. It's a chilly January day in Boston's North End. People are going about their business when suddenly, a low rumble shakes the ground, growing into a deafening roar. A 50-foot-tall steel tank, filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses, explodes. This molasses, destined for rum production, was being stored by the Purity Distilling Company. The tank, weakened by shoddy construction and possibly the fermentation of the molasses on that unseasonably warm day, couldn't hold back the pressure. It burst, unleashing a wave of sticky brown goo that surged through the streets at 35 miles per hour. The wave, reaching a height of 15 feet, ripped buildings from their foundations, tossed a firehouse off its base, and even twisted the metal of an elevated train track. People caught in its path were swept away, struggling to breathe as the thick syrup clogged their lungs. The aftermath was devastating. 21 people lost their lives, some drowning in the viscous tide, others crushed by debris. Over 150 were injured. The cleanup effort was massive, taking 87,000 man-hours and months to complete. The Great Molasses Flood exposed the dangers of industrial negligence and the human cost of cutting corners. It also left behind a legacy of urban legends, tales of molasses-scented streets and ghostly whispers of that fateful day, when a wave of sweetness turned deadly. Our final story takes us to the height of the Cold War, a time of suspicion, secrecy, and the ever-present threat of nuclear annihilation. On September 22, 1979, a U.S. Vela satellite, designed to detect nuclear explosions, picked up something strange, a double flash of light near South Africa's Prince Edward Islands. This distinctive signature, characteristic of a nuclear detonation, sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. The estimated yield, 2 to 3 kilotons, pointed towards a small nuclear test. But who was responsible? Suspicion immediately fell on South Africa, a nation known to be developing nuclear weapons with the help of Israel. Both countries, however, denied any involvement. The White House convened a panel of experts, but their 1980 report concluded that the flash was likely caused by a meteoroid. However, doubts lingered. Declassified files later revealed that 41 out of 41 previous Vela detections had been accurate. The Vela Incident remains a Cold War enigma, a puzzle with missing pieces that continues to fascinate historians and conspiracy theorists alike. It reminds us that some historical events may never be fully declassified, leaving behind more questions than answers. So there you have it, 5 stories from history's quiet corners, tales of resistance, accidental wars, chronological conundrums, sticky disasters, and nuclear mysteries. If these forgotten events have taught us anything, it's that history is anything but boring. It's a tapestry woven from the extraordinary and the mundane, the triumphant and the tragic, the well-documented and the frustratingly ambiguous. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Silent NewsRoom for more hidden history and untold stories. There are countless other forgotten tales waiting to be unearthed, and together, we'll shine a light on the past, one story at a time. Until next time, keep exploring.